Oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing great today, Monday. Let's analyze the situation all together for the price of Bitcoin, see what's going on. Hope you had a great weekend, guys. Let me just go quickly through the comment section and say hello to the wonderful legends here. Let's see what's going on inside of the comment section. Much love. We basically on Bitcoin throughout the weekend, we did have that expected kind of price action, low volatility, continue that downtrend momentum into that 67, 66K zone. This is something that we were discussing throughout the previous stream. Look for that exhaustion coming down here throughout the weekend and very likely going to get that bounce at some point. We're looking for a few 4-5 kind of waves in this territory at the low 66K zone. And now we're getting that little bit of a bounce, as we can see here, right? So we did have that momentum getting exhausted into the weekend. And early this morning, we were figuring out that maybe Sunday night, Monday morning, after creating that latest low, we would get that, relief pump to the upside. I'm going to break down a little bit what I am expecting for the price to develop here in the next coming days. And, do the bulls have a chance, right? Do the bulls have a chance? There's always a chance for the bulls, but it's not looking that great, okay, on the higher time frame. You do know that I'm feeling a little bit more bearish, and this does have the potential to be the high for then the price coming down here to hit $60,000 at some point in the next coming weeks. Is that still doable? Do I still believe in that? I totally do. The movement down, does look pretty impulsive that we had here from $74,000. Is there a chance that this could still be part of a corrective structure, for the bulls here forming a 1-2, 1 and 2 right there? I mean, there is that chance. I was just looking at the analysis that Devil was providing inside of the trading community today, which was absolutely awesome, talking about some scalp entries as well at this zone because we are hitting a major level of resistance. We got that fair value gap here on the low time frames, right, where the first lower highs basically after that massive move down, doors usually provide that resistance, and Devil providing, of course, with the good risk management, some internal scalp setups. Remember, if you are interested in the trading community, super simple to join, guys. Just send me that DM down below. First link here on Telegram to get those daily updates and possible setups that Devil and myself is looking at. Devil has been focusing on the community today. Now we'll be focusing on YouTube to discuss a little bit of the higher time frame, what I'm expecting, and we'll go through the lower time frame later on, of course. First of all, let's say hello to the wonderful community, of course, here in the comment section. Beth Maria Vallejos, much love to you. Thanks for joining the stream. Steele, how are you doing? Let's crush it this week. Andy, lead us the way, amigo. Much love. We'll try and do our best, of course. Good afternoon, everybody. And Andy, please help us out again in this for us confusing market. Let us get a good one together. Absolutely, Ross. We'll do that. We'll do our best. Hi, Sarah. Love from India. Much love. Yes. Hello, Andy. Let's go. Much love, brother. Axikuno. Thanks for joining. Hello, legends. A trader. Here he is. Jackie Wood. Mother giving love, support as always. What happened to Andy's channel? Did they join forces? Yes, we did. We did. Myself and Devil, we joined forces, and it's me and him now on the channel. Mohammed, much love. Swift dude looks bottomed. It did look bottom here a little bit throughout the weekend. I mean, this was kind of expected kind of price action where we were looking for the price to really slow down through the weekend, still continue that downtrend because we had the highest amount of volume in the middle here. So it made sense to look for, this being a wave 3 and, get that continuation 4-5 into the weekend to then get this relief pump, right? It's something that was, kind of expected. We're looking, from Friday to continue a little bit of that downside momentum into the 66K region to then look for the relief pump Sunday, Monday, right? We're in that relief pump right now. So what can we expect next, right? So overall, that's what we're going to discuss today, right? So we got that grinding move to the downside, exhaustion. We got the pump, right? This pump for the moment, is it bullish? Is it, bottom formation? Are we going to go to much higher prices? I will be breaking down a few of the scenarios, of course, in today's stream. So make sure to get your cup of tea, cup of coffee, water, or whatever you want. Stay tuned because we will be here between an hour and 2 hours, potentially maybe even more than that. because there's a lot of things to break down. We need to focus as well on the higher time frame to say, you know, is there a possibility of this being the low to get a larger move to the upside in the coming weeks? Or does it make sense, you know, to look for the rollover and get down below $60,000 already in the coming weeks, right? We'll break down that, okay, throughout the stream as well. Much love, Suzanne. Much love to you. Thanks for joining. Jamie, good morning to all. Distance Music, let's go. Thanks for joining the stream. 82K then dump. Komona says 82. That would be a pretty significant rally. Yeah, we can discuss a few things of moving higher, of course, on the stream today. Nico Sopi, much love. Thanks for joining, my man. Hi from South Africa. Absolutely awesome. South Africa here in the stream. Let's go in the house. Hello, legends. This is Joy, my man. Much love to you. Joy also shared with me today in the Telegram a possibility of a contracting diagonal formation. It is possible from this low. We can discuss that on this stream and what we would need to see developed throughout the next couple of days to actually confirm that that could be a pattern that could be on the formation. Cash is king right now. Yeah, kind of, right? Kind of, it is. Right, let's go through the different things that we can discuss on Bitcoin here. I'm not sure it makes sense to start from the higher time frame and then start zooming in through lower time frame and this range. That's what my plan is. There's nothing quick in this territory, okay? There's nothing quick. Of course, you have that fair value gap for that, you know, intraday entry scalp short. It's been a little bit choppy here, kind of acceptable, but I think we're going to form a little bit of a range still for the coming days. I am leaning a little bit more bearish, as I have done throughout the last few weeks in this zone. The similarities from this zone and this one right over here, you know, there are some very strong similarities here, okay? And basically what I can anticipate for the moment, based on the information that we have, is that there is a high probability with the information that we have that, you know, we're looking at something similar to this, right? Form a bit of a corrective rangey momentum here, you know, maybe hit 70K, maybe even 71K throughout the next couple of days. But overall, you know, leaning on the side that we could be looking for a corrective structure in this zone to then later break down. However, we need to cover bullish scenarios, right? This will not be the first or the last time I am wrong, of course, based on the, you know, what the chart is telling me. You know, is there a chance that we form a higher low in this region and we tackle 74K plus in the coming days? There is still, okay? I was very vocal on Friday that I didn't want that 66.1K to be hit. That would be a big problem. However, analyzing the charts this morning, if you want to fit in a bullish case, which, you know, does look very bad, I have to say, it does look bad, and the probabilities are, you know, decreasing by the day, especially claiming this higher low. But you could fit in a wave one in this zone and an ABC running flat right there, which is extremely long, of course, compared to your wave one. And even this wave one is extremely long as well if this is a wave two. So yeah, it's just, we try and look for bullish case scenarios, even though the probabilities, you know, are quite low. However, you know, let me know if anybody did manage to jump in a long position based on the analysis that we made on Friday. Right, we're looking for that exhaustion momentum here coming down to the 66K region. To then look for that bounce. We actually swept that low and created a swing failure pattern, if you wish, from that 66.1K, right? Kind of a failed auction into that zone as we were getting that grinding structure to the downside to look for this relief rally. I didn't manage to long down here, okay? This was at around about 1-2 o'clock in the morning my time, so didn't manage to get into the very low here. Let's discuss the higher time frame here, okay? Smash up the like button if you do enjoy the content. Just want to give a reminder from a few months ago. We were talking about oil, basically, crude oil, to get that move to the upside to get above $100. We're getting a bit of a correction. We did open today with a big spike to the upside, but when we do take a look at the price of oil, you know, this was basically a bullish flag formation that we were looking at in the last few months, and we're just discussing oil sometimes on the stream, and you know, finally this is very likely going to pop out in the next coming months, so get ready to see oil prices above $100 in the next few months, guys. It's not going to be in the next few months, right? Looking for the oil prices to go to above $100 now, right? A lot of people would be saying that, you know, that's from the escalation that we have. There's no doubt about it that, you know, that has something to do, but it was already said on the charts that in the next few months, this was in January the 28th, we were actually talking about oil for even months before that, that we're likely forming a bullish pennant here, right? Just keeping it in simple terms, and get ready to see oil to trade above $100 in the coming months. This was the 28th of January, so overall just a month and a half after, we see, you know, the prices of oil naturally getting that spike to the upside above $100. So very anticipated, very likely the move to happen on oil here, and not surprised, let's leave it that way. Let's go through the scenarios here on Bitcoin, and I think we're going to dive in through the higher time frame. I mean, we need to talk about the bullish case, right? Because when I am feeling more bearish or I'm feeling more bullish, I actually like to talk about what if, right? What if, you know, my bearish scenario, or what if my bullish scenario doesn't play out? And I look at the other side of the picture as well. I consider more the other, you know, scenario instead of my favorite scenario, just because I give it a little bit of more love, because I already know the bearish case scenario. I know it already looks better, but you always need to consider the bullish case, right? Always need to, in this case, that I'm feeling a little bit more bearish. And when we did, you know, on Friday, we were taking a look at the similarities of this range, but on a, you know, lower time frame. Of course, this was about 10 weeks or so. This has been more like 4 or 5 weeks of a range at the moment. But there is a, you know, a lot of similarities which point out it's likely a bearish corrective range. And, you know, the favorite scenario for me at the moment would be looking to take out $60,000, okay? Just because the chart is telling me that information. And that's what we do as, you know, technical analysts. And, you know, we basically look at similarities, at fractals, and you know, try and predict the zones of rejection and target zones, right, or bouncing zones. So just going through, you know, the same similarities here. We'll talk about the Elliott wave scenarios here on the higher time frame. You know, is there a chance for the low being in here for the next coming weeks and months? And I have to say, you know, the chance is there, even though the probabilities are quite low at the moment with the current information that we have of the range that's been formed in the last few weeks. It's not looking great for a bullish structure to start right over here. Just like this was not looking good for a bullish structure, right, to get that momentum to the upside. It's just not looking great, just as this momentum is not looking great for the bullish case. And we have many reasons to explain why it's not looking great, okay? When we talk about the similarities here, first of all, you know, we got that anchored VWAP from all-time high, which was absolutely beautiful. Rejection at here, 97K zone. And we got something very similar here from the latest pivot lower high, right, which anchored VWAP was tapped and, you know, getting that rejection, as we can see throughout the last few days. Not only this major pivot anchored VWAP, but when we take a look at the similarities of the formation of the price action, then, you know, we got that three wave, right, keeping it simple, a bit of a three wavy structure coming from big downtrend, right? We're coming from a major big downtrend, and this does look very choppy and corrective. There's nothing really screaming to me there's a high probability that this is the low right now, and we should be coming to 80K, 90K, right, in the coming weeks. There's nothing really screaming that on the chart, right? You know, another thing to take into consideration is obviously getting to the top of the range that we formed here for many weeks, right? It's just a liquidity grab. You got the highs of the range here, liquidity grab, getting, above 72k, and then the price eventually, getting that major move to the downside, getting back inside of the value area of the trading zone, right? It's just, pointing out what would be a sign of weakness. And naturally, when you get that breakout here in this zone above the value area high and above the highs of the range for it's a very, very classic liquidity grab to then only roll over later on. Then what we do have here is a little bit of the same scenario, right? We get above the value area highs of the range. It was a liquidity grab. We're back inside of the range right now. Getting that bounce as expected through Friday, that I do believe that the point of control was actually slightly lower with the new information that we got right now. The point of control was at 66.9, I think. But value area low in the point of control to get that bounce throughout the weekend, coming into this week, basically. We're back inside of the range. Getting above the value area high would, be a possible sign of strength here to actually claim above $74,000. But, as with the information that we have, I am expecting a corrective range in the coming days. Now, that's going to be the most interesting thing to analyze, to see if I want to add to my existing short position. Okay. Now, would I say, is it time to collect profits if you did short the 73, 74k region? I'm feeling still a bit, okay that this, we should be forming a corrective range. Scratched a little bit of more profits just based on, I would not want to see the price action, gaining some momentum in the coming days to get to 72, 73k. And not taking profits from this short position, at least some, because if not, it would be pretty foolish, right? It would be bad for me to say, damn, I was in this great short position and didn't even collect a single dollar of profits. Well, that's not the case. But overall, I am heavily interested to add to this existing short. However, it's soon still. I know the bulls could have a chance here to gain momentum in the coming days, and might be surprised and say, what, it was completely wrong about this, the high probability, right, being high conviction here on this zone being corrective. In the next couple of days, the information will be more clear. It will be more clear because at the end of the day, when we talked about the downtrend momentum here on Friday, into the weekend, to get that bounce at some point, be it 67, 66k, right? Or if we sweep up the lows right there at 66.1, which was the bouncing zone in the end. We need a few more days here to be confident about this range being corrective. I would not, we've just had that pump throughout the last few hours. This was today, basically. We created this pump today. This little bounce was created today. I'm not expecting the price action here to top out instantly and move down, because the move from the high here at 74k to this low, right? We've had this movement to the downside. Looks pretty damn impulsive. We were following up with the high probability impulsive move on Friday, which we were looking for a few more 4-5s coming down into the weekend to then get that bounce. So the bounce is happening here. So, for somebody would say, well, the bounce is happening. Is this corrective? Do we roll over already from here? Well, it's not that simple. It's still very soon to say. This is only a leg to the upside, okay, that we've just had today. And if it is going to be corrective, I think we would have still a couple of more days of development here. I don't know what exact correction is going to happen if we do get it. But what I want to see is the price action evolving into something corrective. For the moment, we just have this price action of today, which is a pretty straight pump to the upside into 69k region. What needs to be seen, of course, is that corrective move to the downside and then a movement to the upside here potentially to then, literally from this momentum to the upside from today. detect that it could be a 3-wave corrective structure, you need that 3-wave move, and you need the overlap, of course, beneath the second wave. That's the moment that you really detect that this is high probability corrective, of course. Or more information, right? We just need more information here to look at the different possibilities. This is just a straight move up that we've had today. It kind of looks bullish, right? It's like, yeah, you know, we can go higher. Let's go V-shaped recovery, right, in the next coming hours. So, you know, for the moment, the information is very, very shallow that we have here. We've got that impulsive move to the downside, and we do need a few more days, I have to say, you know, at least crossing the 382 Fibonacci time from the high to the low. And, you know, we'll talk about that, of course, inside of the trading community to detect if this is going to be corrective. What was interesting a few months ago about this range is we understood that the probabilities here were likely going to be corrective. We were pointing out that this would be the low of the impulse, very kind of similar, not the same, where you have the move to the downside with high volume, and then, you know, you're getting that exhaustion into this territory. Once we had this information, it was either a running flat or an expanding flat, see if we could get above 91.2k and then move down, or running flat and then move down. But the probabilities based on, you know, this momentum to the upside, you know, I had a major pivot here, which was 88.7. If that was going to be lost, this was likely going to be corrective, and we're looking at the end stages of the correction, because the bullish case scenario here was forming multiple 1-2s. We lost the last higher low. You couldn't fit an impulse here, and since we got this leg down is when I added to my existing short at 97k. So it did take a few more days to develop, right? Let's just say that now the price action is in this stage. We still need more information. 3-wave up, right? There's still a few more days to finish a possible correction. You know, I wouldn't say that this high is the high and we're going to roll down from here. It extended the range a little longer, a few more days. So if we are going to be seeing that this is corrective, it's going to take a few more days, in my opinion, when we take a look at, you know, the most common timing for the correction, that is crossing the 382 Fibonacci time, which would be tomorrow, okay, around about midday Central European time. So we still have easy another 24 hours for maybe the high being in at least, and this could easily extend to Wednesday or even Thursday before we actually roll down. So it's still early stages to say, right, high probability this is correction. We don't have that information yet. This is just one leg to the upside, one wave, and the price moves either in 5 waves or either in 3 waves, right? So we've only got one wave here for the moment. So this requires a little bit more patience. It requires at least another 24 hours to then start looking at, you know, the different pivots that we have to say, right, this is high probability corrective, and then I can be confident to add to the short position. If that is going to be the case, right? So maybe that is not going to be the case. So we're going to have to see how the price evolves in the next few days. The thing is, if you've been, you know, if I was in a short from higher at 73k zone, for example, I want to collect some profits, because there is always a bullish or a bearish scenario, right? If you're bullish, you know, I'm feeling more bearish right now. As I am feeling bearish, as I've done the analysis for the bearish scenario that does look better, I am really considering the bullish case. I'm considering all the time, what if, right? The bullish case. Naturally, it would have been nice to long here, you know, this SFP at 61k, if you can detect those, you know, that 4-5, those double, triple bottoms in this zone to get a better entry. It's a little bit harder naturally to get into a long where we are at the moment. Wouldn't be my preferred long to get into, that's for sure. But yeah, maybe some of you, let me know if maybe some of you are long from early this morning here from the 66K region, because it's something that we anticipated on how the price could evolve on Friday, right? Look for Sunday, Monday to get that, last momentum to the downside, to then look for that relief pump, right? Which is where we are at the moment. So, as explained, with the information that I have here at the moment, there's nothing, it requires patience, okay? Because we need a few more waves here to actually, combine with the movement down to say if it is going to be corrective. And I know a lot of people are here for scalps and day trades and that, but I am here for the bigger moves, right? We try and analyze a little bit of the higher time frame, high probability scenarios, and I'm interested in the big swings, right? In this case, potentially to get down to 60K. I'm looking for those bigger moves, not the moves of $1,000 to $2,000. Preferably more than $5,000 of a move is what I'm more interested in, and that's why I'm here to try and explain the possible swing possibilities. So let's break down the bullish case scenario. I have to say, going through the daily time frame, is there a chance for the low being in here when we do consider Elliott wave theory to get a bigger bounce in the next coming weeks, like bigger bounce of $10,000, $20,000? The only scenario that would come up to my mind is that we have a finished impulsive move here in a wave 5. Now the problem is here with this wave 5 is you need to fit in a wave 4, which would have to be this little consolidation, right? So on the lower time frame here, on the 4 hourly, I would have to fit a wave 4 in this little region if I want to believe that this is the end of that wave 5, which is not great. It's a little bit shallow, it's a little bit small, but I have to say it would be an acceptable count if this is going to be the low. The main problem for this scenario, which is looking for a bigger bounce throughout the next coming weeks, is this range. The bounce that we got from $60,000, that doesn't look great. It doesn't look great for the bullish case, but we always consider it. I always need to consider the different bullish options. That bullish option here, looking at the 1 hourly time frame, for example, it doesn't look great. It's just as great as when we analyze this price action to the upside, which we did. This was a few months ago. We did have a bullish scenario here. There's always a bullish scenario, right? We did have some bullish scenarios here as this momentum was developing. They were not looking great though. The probabilities were higher that this was corrective and that we should be tackling $80,000. But we always, we did have a bullish option. I can't remember exactly which one right now. We ain't going to cover it, but it had to do with multiple 1-2s in this territory. So let's go through the bullish scenarios, right? We know the bearish scenario. Bearish scenario is looking for the price to form a lower high from $74,000, not successfully reclaim the value area high of this trading zone, which we're not too far away of, right? This is likely going to be a strong resistance zone. 70 to 71K, bit of fake outs to the upside is very much a scenario that could happen, but it's big resistance. Value area high is big resistance here. And the bearish case scenario, I think we all know it, right, is that this range gets choppy. It gets corrective. The bulls struggle to maintain that bullish market structure, and it ends up, failing to maintain local bullish market structure and ends up being corrective to then just roll over in the next coming weeks. Bearish scenario is that, right? Looking for a lower high in this territory and, having some choppiness and a range formation throughout the next coming days. Let's talk about the bullish case scenario. Bullish case scenario is basically looking for this move to the upside to be a wave 1 right? Nothing has really changed, just the price action that we formed in the weekend. This being a wave 1 and that being a wave 2. Let's make this slightly bigger, right? And then obviously looking at this pump to the upside, you can't fit a wave 1 here from this low, because you literally have a 1, 2, 3, a bit of a 3-wave move to the upside. So the only solid way for the moment, shout out to Devil, he was pointing out this morning, you know, there's always a bullish possibility, even though it doesn't look great. The bullish possibility here is having a running flat, okay? This would be the running flat situation, which is not great. It's not great. B wave is a little bit overshooting here, a little bit too lengthy. But when you're looking for bullish scenarios, even though the probabilities are low, you just need to, you know, consider them, right? Just take them into consideration. So with this scenario, you have a wave 1 right over here, your wave 2, which is over 5 times longer. That's already not great, okay? And then this would have to be your wave 1. Your wave 2 would be a running flat, A wave, B wave, impulse down in a C wave here. Running flat situation, which is also quite lengthy, okay? It is quite lengthy from that wave 1. It is, I don't know, yeah, it's about 7-8 times longer from your wave 1, so it's not great. You have a wave 1, extremely long wave 2, and your second wave 1 and 2 is also, you know, very, very lengthy. You're just trying to fit in a bullish scenario here for bullish market structure, for the price to, you know, ending up breaking out in a wave 3 and a big move to the upside, which is not great based on timing, based on the proportion here of this wave 2. Running flat is not common as well. It's just not looking great for the bullish case scenario. Is it possible? Absolutely possible, it is, but the probabilities are not that great. We understand as technical analysts as well that the probabilities, even though if it's low, right, you still have a chance, right, for it to happen, right? It's like going to the casino and betting on 0, right, on the roulette. You know, if you only bet on 0, you have a 3% chance that it might come, but you know that 3% chance does happen, right? So probabilities are low, but they are there, right? The probabilities are low, but they are there. The most bullish case scenario eventually is really getting that, you know, big breakout to the upside, right, in that wave 3 at some point, right, and then 4, 5 to finish that higher time frame wave 3, and then another 4 and 5 to form an impulse basically in this momentum. The other scenario would be that instead of forming your wave 3 here naturally, this would be a wave A, right? Wave A, wave B. I'm not in favor of this scenario, guys. It's just something that we need to cover, because, you know, I know the probabilities. I know that my favorite scenario is that the high is in, and that a lower high in this territory is what I am favoring to then move down in the next coming weeks, right? Give it weeks or days to tackle $60,000. But I mean, come on, we already know that. We need to talk about what if the price gets to 74K? How could it move? You know, what are we looking at? If that is the case, if you are feeling bullish and you believe that the low could be in here locally, I mean, this would be your invalidation for this scenario. 65.6K is your invalidation, because we already finished an impulsive move down. And if we want to combine something corrective with this range of the last week, it has to be a running flat. It has to be a running flat, because this fits in much better as an impulse down. So yeah, that would have to be the end of that wave 2 in this case, which is not looking great, I have to say. So that's your invalidation. If you're feeling bullish that we're going to take out 74K, this is your invalidation, right? Anybody that's feeling brave enough to, either long a retracement here, that is your invalidation. If you take out that low, then, you know, I would really believe that you're either going to form a flat in this zone and then move down, which is similar to what happened here, because, you know, that would be your invalidation right there. You finished an impulse down. This is getting, you know, that bounce, three-wave structure. You take out the low, running flat, then you move down. Running flat or expanding flat, which takes out this high and then rolls over. You take out this, you know, current low at 65.6. We're running out of bullish scenarios, right? It's just you're running out. You know, at some point the price is just going to prove you that it's bearish. I mean, come on, you're looking for bullish scenarios. If you take out that low, then that's the moment that I would be ready for that either running flat or expanding flat scenario. If this low is taken, I'm just realizing that what is forming here is likely corrective. That would be the confirmation pivot. We take out this low. I'm not going to come up with more bullish scenarios. I mean, there would be a silly bullish scenario, but which, you know, would still have a possibility, which is basically, even though if you still take out this low, right, you form a diagonal here, for example, or a five-wave structure that takes out this low, and you would literally have to have an ABC flat from here, right? And that's like 10 times longer, even more than that. I haven't measured it, but this would be your wave 1 and that would be your wave 2. You don't have much room here, or obviously from this low, so there would still be a bullish case scenario, but it would just look very, it wouldn't look great based on timing, based on the structure, and, you know, the symmetry would be looking very bad. So there would, even though you take out this low, there would still be a bullish case scenario, which would be a flat or a running flat, okay, and then look for the price to move up. But not taking that into consideration as of yet, okay, as of yet. So if we do take out this low, I will be in the camp that, you know, this movement to the upside, as explained in the last few days, I do see it as a WXY double zigzag. Yes, you can fit an ABC if you wish, but overall a three-wave structure. You got your impulse down. You take out the, if we take out this low, I would be very much in favor of a flat. I would be looking for a running flat or a regular flat. Of course, regular flat would be taking out the local highs that have been created today. But that's the moment that I would be extremely ready to add to my short position from 73K region, because I would be quite confident that taking out 60K in the next couple of weeks would have extreme high probability. And that's just looking at the similarities from this price action that we had, right, where you have that three-wave move to the upside, also in that double zigzag, an impulsive move down, and, you know, this was either a running flat or a regular flat, or we could have looked for a triangle formation in this zone, or extended WXY. It doesn't really matter, but, you know, there were signs already here, especially after claiming this low. This momentum was the last chance for the bulls, which is something that we're going to be paying attention to throughout the next coming days, because, you know, that's what I would be looking at. Very similar, three-wave move up, impulsive move down. Do we get a corrective range in the next coming days from this point? And, you know, as explained, the similarities here, three-wave move up, an impulse down. You know, do we actually, you know, if we claim that low, I will be looking for the flat here. I will be looking for the flat as the high probability, high priority corrective range. And if that does happen, I mean, the fractal is literally going to be the same. The fractal is going to be the same from this current price action. When we do get the bars pattern here to take a look at this price action, right? Obviously, we need to squeeze it in a little bit because it's on a lower time frame, but you get the point here, right? We do have a pretty similar price action movement you know, from a few months ago, which is this one right over here. So yeah, this is the question right now, right? Do we get that low being taken? You know, I would be looking for that running flat or the regular flat with high probability to just roll over later on to get down below 60k. And we could be, you know, 1 to 2 weeks away for this happening, right? It might, well, once we get to the stage of high probability corrective, I will come out and say, guys, we're probably days away of coming down to $60,000, just like we were, you know, confident in the, you know, we're probably days away in coming below $80,000 when we were trading in this zone. We could have extended in a triangle, could have extended the WXY, but this was at this point, we were days away of getting down below $80,000. Let's see the information that we do get in the next 1 to 2 days, and I might be coming out and saying, guys, you know, we're probably days away of getting the breakdown to 60, you know, below 60k. Okay, but bulls have a chance, right? They do have a chance, and you know, we're going to give them that chance to see if they do manage to get that that bullish scenario out of the way, which is not looking great, I have to say, right? As explained, this would be your wave 1, your wave 2, another wave 1 here, a running flat, extremely long from this wave 2, from this wave 1, sorry. It's not a pretty picture for the bulls, I have to say. So, you know, I'm just here to say that the probabilities are actually quite low for the bullish case scenario to break above $74,000. On the lower time frame, if we wanted, you know, if I wanted to detect, okay, well, you know, do we get an impulse here? You know, can we form a corrective structure? Because for the bullish case scenario, it is true that this could be an impulse formation on the formation right now on the lower time frame, right? You're getting some volume kicking in right there. You can fit in, it is lower time frame, a 5-wave structure here. It's very choppy and very noisy, but it is true that even an ABC here, where you have an A wave, B wave is a flat, and then your C wave. So a 3-wave structure here also can be fitted. This is the 5-minute time frame, so it is very, very noisy. But overall, what would be important is to detect the momentum to the downside, which is it going to be overlapping and look corrective? That's the moment where I would be looking for a new long opportunity naturally if we get choppiness on the way down as a correction in the next in the next 24 hours. Basically, this is the 5-minute time frame. So if the bulls do have a chance for this being the low being in, which I'm not very in favor of, I would still be interested in possible long entries if the movement down proves itself to be corrective after this leg to the upside. I mean, we can't predict every single movement, guys, right? There's limitations here, right? On Friday, we were discussing the possibility of getting exhausted here and get this bounce, right? This is like a few days in advance, right? We're looking for the price to hold on here throughout the weekend. This 66k region, getting that exhaustion here is we're likely going to get that bounce. We can't predict 10 waves in advance. We can predict 1 or 2 based on the information that we have, but as explained here, it depends on this movement to the downside. Do we get a corrective range? And I would be interested in getting into a new long position, because I understand that the bulls have a chance. The bulls have a chance regardless if it's low, but we need to detect a corrective range. And the easiest way to detect a corrective range is to get a move down, move up, move down, and then overlap. That's where you realize that this is likely corrective. That's the moment that you want to look for jumping into a long position. Right? Do we get this kind of corrective structure between today and tomorrow on the movement down? because if this is going to be bullish based on the low probability scenario, wave 1, wave 2, and this is wave 1 and this is wave 2 right over here in a running flat, or wave A, wave B, doesn't matter, this could be a B wave, but this would be 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, right, to look for that C wave of the flat. It doesn't matter, it's getting above 74k on both scenarios. If we were to be forming a third wave up, you're looking for this to be a wave 1 and a wave 2 formation throughout today and tomorrow, right? You're looking for a wave 2 on the formation, which needs to be an overlapping structure, corrective structure. Then, could we break out in a wave 3 by tomorrow or Wednesday, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And it just explodes out. Well, naturally, I would want to participate, even though I'm bearish and I'm short from 73k. I do realize there's a bullish option here. I would want to be in that third wave speculation. However, I need the wave 2, because wave 2 is where you want to get in for the wave 3. So we need to detect that corrective rangy structure wherever the high is created here, to then anticipate that possibility of a third wave breakout to the upside, which I'm not in favor of, right? I'm not in favor. I don't see that being the highest probability. What I would say that, if we form a corrective range in this zone between today and tomorrow, I would be more in favor of the larger A, B, C, right? A, B, and C, get to 70, 71k zone, which is the value area high, and then get the rejection. But that's not going to be the moment that I will add to my short position here based on the C wave. The moment that I would add heavily to this position is once we got the third wave, right? Say that this is a wave B or a wave 2 on the bullish case. Your wave C gets the movement up, gets to 70, 71k, value area high. It looks like it's bullish, but then naturally you get that big rejection down again. That's the moment that I will be adding to the existing short position to be at the lower highs of this zone, because that's when I realize that the probabilities will be extremely high for me here. Well, extremely high that this is either a wave 1, wave 2, and what we're looking at to follow through here later on is that wave 3 breakdown to get below $60,000. So it's all about reacting to the information that is given right throughout the next coming days. This would be a confirmation for me that to say, right, we have finished the bounce, likely from the movement down, and what we are looking for is follow through later on. Because when we do go through this movement to the downside, you got the impulsive move down, you got the 3 wave structure, wave 1, wave 2, what you're looking at is later on to get that big breakdown in that wave 3. So we're gonna have to see. There's gonna be a couple of more days, in my opinion, for the price to prove itself that it is likely corrective. But once that is proven, this is the moment to take action to get into either new short positions or add to existing short positions naturally, because then when the price moves down to below 60k, this will not be a moment to short, right? We should be positioned in short positions already, and then it's looking for longs. Okay, then what we're looking for down here is the exhaustion naturally in that 4-5 below 60k at levels of support to look for the swing long positions naturally, right? So that's a little bit of what we got here, just with a bit of Picasso drawing, that this is going to take a few days to develop itself to prove that it is going to be corrective. Okay, we've only got a nice little bounce today, which was very much anticipated based on the information that we had from last week. We are looking for that little grinding structure here to get exhausted, and we're looking for that bounce, which is what we're getting today. I mean, this was on Friday, so this is not a strong bounce getting above value area high. You know, we're just getting that relief pump, of course, from the downtrend that we got last week. And, you know, this is going to take a couple of more days, in my opinion, to, you know, that we can be, I can be confident to say, guys, you know, we're probably days away of breaking down to below $60,000, right? However, might be bullish. This is why, you know, if, you know, considering the bullish case, considering that we've came down to support, which is the point of control and the value area low, I have to say that profits have to be taken, right? Even though I'm looking for this to be a very, very good swing short position. I did take it as a day trade as well. You know, I you know, got significant capital in this trade. So, I mean, profits have to be taken because I would, you know, this it's the kind of trade that I would not want the price to come to my entry, come above 74K, and didn't even take, you know, a single dollar of profit. So, but I think I have conviction. You know, let's see how the price develops. You know, I am expecting 70K, maybe even 71K on this bounce. But you know, I am expecting value area high to prove itself as a very, very strong barrier of resistance, and for the price to literally fail to go to higher prices here in the next coming days. But I need to see that, right? And there's nothing better than either, you know, seeing it to be, you know, have high conviction about the price moving down. And as explained, this does look like a finished impulse down. So what I need to see right now is the finished or getting close to be finished corrective structure, not the first leg up here. And this is going to be a lower high and move down. I do not believe that's going to happen. This is too soon. Part of the bounce, part of the potential correction that could be formed in the coming days. And that's what we need to see. We need to see a failed, you know, three-wave breakout here. Once we get that failed three-wave, third-wave breakout, you know, we can be pretty confident that we formed a ABC movement here. Once that happens, if we get this kind of price action in the next couple of days, you know, I'm just going to say it's a high probability, guys, that this is three-wave correction, impulse down, corrective move up. We're looking for the price to break down below 60K at some point. So we are at the last stages here to confirm, do we get a corrective bounce, right? Do we get a corrective bounce here? It's the last stage, which could take a couple of days, and then look for the rollover to 60K. I mean, this is what has the highest probability at the moment based on the information that we have. Naturally, we need to cover the bullish scenarios, of course, right? We do need to cover the bullish case scenario. And as explained, that would be having an ABC running flat here, which, you know, looks terrible. It does look terrible, but even though if it looks terrible, well, you need to take it into consideration. As explained, if you are feeling bullish from this pivot low at 65.6, and you're looking for the price to get above $74,000, this would have to be your invalidation in this case, because if it is an ABC running flat, this does look very much finished, okay, as that impulse down. This would have to be your invalidation. So if you do get that corrective structure throughout the next, you know, 24 hours here, there's two possibilities. You form that B wave and then the C wave, and then it fails naturally at the value area high, or you break out in a third wave. So, you know, this consolidation it needs to be studied in the next, you know, 24 hours, right? If we do get that pullback corrective structure, it needs to be studied, because I do think that there could be a very decent day trade long entry in the next coming hours. There could be a good long entry in the coming hours here. which is speculating either in a wave 2 or in a wave B here. Naturally, for the most bullish case, it's a wave 2, and we break out in a wave 3, of course, in the coming days. I'm not too in favor of this scenario, but I would take it into consideration. To get into that long, obviously hedging against the short is not a bad idea. So it's going to be something interesting to look for in the coming hours. You know, do we have a corrective structure here to look for either the C wave, which would fail to break above the value area high? It would end up failing naturally. You know, you do have the golden pocket as well from the highs of 74k to the lows. That is literally just above the value area high. It would be a failure point at 71k. Golden pocket, the most respected Fibonacci retracement. In confluence, slightly below, right, slightly above the value area high here. It would be an interesting failure point for the price of Bitcoin if it does get up there. So yeah, that's just really, you know, brainstorming here a few of the local scenarios without taking the levels into consideration. But I really wanted to keep it a little bit more simple, based on, you know, the fractal that we do have from this zone over here, right, which is kind of quite similar, quite similar, however on a lower time frame naturally, right? So let me know in the comment section. I know somebody was saying we go up to $82,000 and then we roll over. I don't have a scenario for that unless we do have an A, B, and then this is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you form a larger A, B, C to the upside. But yeah, for the moment, this is literally what I'm looking for, as explained. Leaning a little bit more bearish, as you do know, since I'm going to say forever, right? But since this range was formed, I was leaning that this has a high probability of being something corrective. So yeah, let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the absolute legends here. First of all, I didn't do my quick disclaimer. Of course, this content is for educational purposes only, guys, and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision, of course. Much love to everybody. Remember that if we're not on YouTube, we are inside of the trading community. Devil has been posting today, Monday, inside of the trading community, guys. Super simple to get access. Just send me a DM, the word access, in the Telegram. Super easy to join. You just need to sign up to one of the affiliate links. Bluffin has got one of the insanest campaigns at the moment with $50,000 of rewards, okay, depending on the trading volume that you move. And if you sign up, you do get access, okay, inside of the trading community. Make sure to send me that DM. And let's go through the comment section. Right, here we go. Here we go. We got some nasty comments already. Got some nasty comments. I think we need to get this guy out of the way. He's not very nice. Only being nice to the people. But yeah, why do we have much love to you, A Trader? We appreciate you. I'll get this guy out of the way. It doesn't matter. Mods are not playing the game today, so we'll have to hide this guy from the channel because he's only talking crap. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, moderators not around today, which is what it is. Moderators don't need to be around. Why are you even here then? Yeah. Some guy just talking BS here, which is it is okay. We just talk about the probabilities, the scenarios. We've been being bearish a lot. We've been talking about this anchored VWAP to get the rejection. I don't know why there's this hate. Why this hate, right? But anyway, it doesn't matter. We were talking about this major rejection, talking about how we're looking for either a ABC or a WXY, analyzing the structure, analyzing the possibilities of rejecting here at the 74k region, talking about on stream here how, you know, this is a zone where it looks interesting to look for internal triple tops to catch a very good short position. And this was live on stream. You can check it on the 4th of March, right? Anchored VWAP. This is an interesting zone for double triple tops. Path Maria Vallejos, who's in the comment section, can talk about that short that she's in also. And just talking about the similarities that we have from this price action, okay, from a few months ago. And then we got these I don't know, these haters that come underground. I didn't have the patience today to read. I actually like to take a look at what he's talking about here, but I didn't have the patience. But man, he's been bashing here, bang, bang, bang. You know, trying to convince. I don't have much haters really, but when I get one or two, they're just really there commenting this, that, the other. That I'm a scammer. I'm this. I'm the other. I'm here just to share my own personal opinion. And so far, so good, right? What's wrong, right? What's the matter with these people? What is the matter, right? We talk about how we're likely going to get exhaustion here throughout the weekend, and we are looking for like the double, triple bottom formation at certain levels to get this relief pump. You know, this was discussed. You know, this is a high probability that we exhaust here in the weekend and get the bounce. And you know, we just give opinion, technical analysis. And then we got these knobheads here really bashing me in the comment section. Screw that guy. But anyway. Yeah. Here we go. We got him again. This guy doesn't get he doesn't get tired. He creates new accounts just to bring BS here in the comment section. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What can we do? How will you trade this, Andy? The level to level classic style of trading on lower time frame. How would I trade this? Not sure what you are. I've become more of a swing trader throughout the last 1 to 2 years. Don't do much intraday. It is good for entries. So overall, I mean, this short position was very much the idea of treating it as a swing short. I'm going to treat it as a scalp as well, but also as a swing short position. When you talk about here, what could be the entries on the lower time frame? I mean, we are getting this exhaustion consolidation in this region a little bit. We are reacting here to this fair value gap that we have right from this drop to the downside. An internal double top here would be an acceptable entry. If you ask me about, you know, where would be a major level, if we do see this ending as an impulse, double top here locally could be an acceptable option. If you do reject, I would treat it as so. But major levels to the upside that we do have, I think we do have a naked point of control slightly above us. Yeah, I'm not sure why this naked point of control is still on the chart. Let's go through the session volume profile here and talk about the levels of resistance that we do have. Not that much here, to be honest. Not that much resistance. We do have that fair value gap that has very poor volume. Yeah, for me, I really don't have a quick short entry. Local double tops can be okay to look for that possible corrective structure here throughout today and tomorrow. But as explained, if we do have that impulsive move down in this region, it would make sense for this to extend a few more days. Okay, So yeah. Anyway, man, this guy doesn't get tired of creating accounts and coming in here. I told everyone to do the opposite. I did the opposite and won. Chris Clown, he's losing viewers. We talked about this short position a few days ago, my man. Literally on stream. Yeah, I'm gonna actually point that stream out. Okay, let's get that stream out here. I don't need to show anybody. But yeah, if you literally go to the stream from the 4th of March, we were very much talking about the rejection here of the anchored VWAP. So if you did do the opposite here and went long, then you probably you probably got stopped out, right? But anyway, yeah, I've been trying, but however, these guys never, they like bots. They're like bots. They come in, they come in hate, and they come back again. They create another account. So yeah. Right, let's go through the comment section. A bee doesn't waste its energy trying to convince a fly that honey is better than shit. Yeah, I know, my man. They're just creating a bit obsessed. Yeah, this guy's being obsessed at this point. Bullish CVD, Andy, please, can you check? Let's take a look at the CVD. We got lots of shorts entering on Bybit here, which is creating that bullish CVD. Yeah, lots of shorts entering on Bybit here at the moment, which is making the good chance to take out the local highs. When we do take a look at the order flow, we got lots of shorts entering here on Bybit, which is creating those bullish CVD diversions. As we can see, we got the lower lows on the CVD, higher lows on the price action, which is giving us that chance to take out the local highs at 69.5k. So yeah, just ignore them. Yes, I know. Andy, what else do you see up resistance other than the value area high? Value area low at, yeah, value area high, that is, at 70k, and the 618 above. Thanks. RVM3, the resistance that we do have, apart from that, we don't have any major... There is a daily level. There is that daily level also, which is sitting at 72.6k daily level. So yeah, there is that daily level. If we add a level of resistance, that would be really pushing it. Daily level tapped. We got a new daily level here. If we do take a look at the levels of resistance above 71k, we've only got that daily level. There's a little range point of control, but that's slightly higher. Yeah, I would expect value area high to do the job here, really. Value area high of the range, which naturally could get that fake out attempt unless volume kicks in and we start breaking out very aggressively. But this zone, daily level at 72.6, that is really coming up almost to the 0.88 Fibonacci from the movement down. Golden pocket and value area high is the strongest zone. Okay, you don't want to see that, that range at 71k being broken. Of course, internal double tops, or getting into this zone, is actually a zone where the price could get rejected, especially if we move up here throughout the next coming hours. I wouldn't expect it to stretch that far, but if it does, I would be expecting a movement down naturally. But yeah, that's the strongest resistance, really. If you ask me, do we have any more resistance? above this 71k. You do have that mini range point of control here, which is coming in at the golden pocket, so that's going to help as resistance. As you can see, you got a little consolidation that we had here on Thursday, Friday, which is at the golden pocket from the movement down, and the value area high is slightly below. So it's a strong zone of rejection if we do get up there. So yeah, that's a little bit it. More levels. The only level that we have is a daily level at 72.6. So yeah, very, very interesting. But it's going to take as explained throughout the stream, if this is going to be if it is going to be corrective, it should take a couple of more days. It should take a few more days, and we just don't know what exact correction is gonna be formed, right? Will it be an A, B, C, right? And then the price obviously rejects at that value area high and the golden pockets. You know that this is a like aggressive, trying to catch the high of the correction. Naturally, the best way would be having that confirmed corrective structure. Once the third wave fails and moves down, then you know that this is highly likely going to form a lower high from this pivot. So the shorts, instead of shorting here, this would be the short attempt naturally, stop loss at the high and looking for 60k in the next couple of weeks. Your short would be this one right over here, which has a little bit more of probabilities on your side, because you have the impulsive move down, you're failing to move up here, you're confirming that you're having a three-wave corrective structure once you get this movement to take out the last higher low. So this would be the best option, of course, to be convinced about that short position coming down here. That's if we form a three-wave corrective structure to the upside. The other scenario is forming a flat, right, which is coming down from here, taking out the lows, and then moving up. Will it form a running flat, or will it form a regular flat? That's the main question. But analyzing this pump will be crucial, because time is ticking here based on this move before the price moves down to 60k, which is something similar that happened here, right? Once you have that running flat in this zone, there's not much time till the price starts, rolling down very aggressively, right? Days after that happens. So this requires a little bit more patience to actually confirm that we do have a corrective structure in this territory. It's going to take at least 24 to 48 hours to have conviction that, guys, this is likely corrective. Next stop has high probability of being 60k, which could take days after this, correction is kind of coming to its end stage. But as explained, we need that information, right? The moment I added to this short position in this range was when we lost 88.7. This was like, guys, we either going to form a triangle here, or extend a WXY and finish in a triangle, or this has been a running flat. Having a regular flat here was also a general idea that we had. Still looking for corrective structures, but this is why in the next coming days it's going to be crucial, because as explained, it will be days away, in my opinion. Once we can confirm that this is corrective, we are going to be days away of actually confirming that we're going to move down to $60,000. And hopefully I can either, you guys know, if you watched last week's video, very much confident in the anchored VWAP, looking for double triple tops at the anchored VWAP on the lower time frame. This was the main short trade plan from last week that I had, which was actually, we were live on YouTube when we were tackling this zone. and saying, guys, you know, double, triple tops here, you know, could be the high. And this is why, you know, I am in that short position naturally based on putting my money where my mouth is, right? This is actually a good zone of rejection. Want to take some profits. I want to confirm that this structure that we develop in the coming days is corrective. We talked about the bullish case, giving the chance here that the bulls do have a chance. They do have a chance, even though the probabilities are low. I don't like it. I'm leaning more bearish. But they have a chance naturally. They do have a chance. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's go through the comment section, see what's going on here. Can't wait for the prices below 60K. Yeah, Andy, Mallorca is beautiful. Went to a wedding in the past weekend. It's way more beautiful than Dubai. It definitely is. It is very, very beautiful. Mohammed, much love to you. Let's go through the comment section and discuss. Nina, how are you doing? Much love. Please, could you, during a parallel channel, draw a parallel channel on the top 126K to 80K and 98K to 60K. Use the daily time frame. What's your opinion? Okay, let's do that. Let's do that right away. Why not? Let's get the anchored VWAP and the levels, clean up the chart, draw a parallel channel from the highs here to 80K to this low. What's my opinion on this? I mean, I don't have much of an opinion on this parallel channel. Yeah, nothing that I would say here. Obviously, the lower high would be a resistance. The lower high of this parallel channel would naturally provide some resistance if we were to get up there in the next coming days. Something that I'm not expecting at the moment, but overall, yeah, nothing that I would say about the importance of this parallel channel from those pivots. I would just say that the highs of the channel would provide that resistance naturally with that low formed here at 80K. Would very likely provide resistance, just a resistance, support resistance flip with the lower high resistance trend line. So not something that I'm really looking at naturally, but where are you spot buying, Andy? No financial advice, of course. Jerome, I have been buying some Bitcoin throughout this drop. Obviously, in this range, I haven't been buying some, but since we lost $80,000, I was very vocal about it on the channel that, you know, I'm DCAing a bit on Bitcoin here. I actually deployed about 30% of my stables with this drop. So I did buy a significant chunk, but if you ask me, I'm going to remain patient for the next coming months, despite getting a bounce here or not. Because I do strongly believe, based on the analysis, that we will likely see sub 50K. Seeing sub 50K in the coming months, right? Could it be weeks or not? Well, let's just say, you know, the next coming months. I think there's a very, very good chance that we do get below this region based on the higher time frame analysis that we have from this movement down. That this is unlikely the low of the bear market. Okay, it all has to do with the higher time frame move to the downside, where we're looking for either an impulsive move down being finished, which I'm not in favor of, but I know it's a possibility. The bullish case scenario would be forming a ABC flat here. That's it. The low of the bear market is in, right? And we look for the price to recover in the next coming weeks and months. Obviously, regarding spot, you know, because we're down 50%, I'm already buying at a discount, right? 40-50% from all-time high is already good for a, you know, long-term holding. But I'm pretty confident that this is not the low of the bear market, okay? Because it's too soon. We're only in Q1 of 2026, looking at the 4-year cycle theory. If this could be one of the counts where we have an impulse down, and I would really favor a wave A here, not a ABC, right? Flat. And this is the low of, or getting close to the low of the bear market, and off we go to all-time high in the coming months. No, low probability for this scenario when we consider, the 4-year cycle theory, the insane bull run that we had, which is really good for Bitcoin. We had a very, very good bull run for Bitcoin. It wouldn't make sense based on timing that this is a running flat, a regular flat. And, the low is in here for Bitcoin, or very close with one more low. I'm not buying it. I do believe that this is going to extend for a few more months. We ain't going to get into a bullish trend. And it makes more sense to get an A wave here. Look for a corrective bounce throughout the next coming months. And then look for the final push down. And we're literally looking for an ABC here, right? 3-wave move to the downside. That's one scenario. That would be one scenario, just a regular 3-wave structure, get below $50,000. This would be a zone that I would be heavily getting into spot positions. I would be buying like crazy if we were to dip below 50K. For the long term, naturally, that is. But another scenario is a double zigzag, which also fits in nicely. We would have that ABC movement to the downside here. And what we would be looking for is another ABC down, which would be a WXY double zigzag. That is still very much one of the possible scenarios here. However, in this case, we are inside of the Y wave, but we've only got one impulse down. You're looking for maybe a larger bounce here that potentially gets to 80K, maybe 85K, but still looking for a 3-wave move down. So you got the 3-wave move up from all-time high. You have a sideways WXY here for your B wave. Okay. It would be a 3-wave movement to the downside. Complex correction WXY in that wave X, and now we're looking for the last zigzag down for the next coming months to get below $50,000. So a lot of the scenarios do point out that getting below $50,000 would be the name of the game here in the next coming months. But yeah, so that's, this is a zone that I am waiting for in the coming months to buy heavy spots. Somebody pointed out, I think it was Jerome that pointed out where you're looking to buy on spot. At the moment we lose 50K, which is the lows of this range, which could be very quick. It could bottom out for a few months. It could be a quick swing failure pattern. It could range down here, but this would be a very, very interesting buying zone. And that's where I am saving some significant cash, of course, to buy Bitcoin. Will we get it or not? Well, this is the thing, right? When you DCA, technical analysis is just looking at the probabilities and possibilities. I'm happy to buy on spot with that loss of $80,000, right? So, you have a video uploaded 4 years ago about how to trade level to level. I like the style. Can you test it on the current price action lower time frame? Absolutely. Why not? Andy, much love to you. A trader, thank you very much. Let's take a look at this. It's about ranging. There's many styles of trading on the lower time frame. We can discuss that. It likes to tap the 382 level, dance around, then reverse when everyone gets bullish. How set CVD settings, Andy, please tell me. Send me a DM on Telegram. We can help you out. Bullish versions versus bullish diversions. Let's go right away through this. You have a video uploaded 4 years ago about how to trade level to level. I like this style. Can you please explain? Level to level is maybe, it depends on what style. Taking into consideration the session volume profile or not. fair value gaps, swing failure patterns. There's many different styles of range trading. Of course, range trading, you do need a range naturally to be on the formation. This is a little bit uptrending at the moment from the last 24 hours, well, since this morning. But yeah, I mean, if I were to take into consideration, I think more of the range, it's more like swing failure patterns where you sweep up some liquidity from a major pivot higher low. Unless it's taking session volume profile into consideration. The interesting thing about, session volume profile, there is actually a strategy on session volume profile where if you open, right, and this is just going to be explained right away, to look for the next day, when you open outside of the previous day value levels, so inside of this session volume profile, we can see that we opened today, all right, kind of outside of the range, staying outside of the range. The previous day value area low, if you open beneath and you get inside it, you have a very good chance of getting to the other side of the range, which is literally what happened today. That's usually, you usually look at this when the day opens, right? So let's just give a quick example here, looking at today's session volume profile. We have this session volume profile, right, from today. If we were, right, say that we still continue ranging here, or we get some upside momentum, and then the next day opens, right, and you open outside of the previous day value range, right, say that we open here and your session volume profile value area high is here. If you then later on throughout the day get back inside the previous day value zone, there is a good chance, obviously, we take consideration Elliott wave theory here, but a good chance to get to the previous day value area low in this case. So you need a new range, you need a new day to be traded, right? If you lose value area high, you do have a good chance to get down to the value area low. You need to open or outside or very close to the previous day value zone. So the best example was this morning. You have previous day value level from Sunday. You open in the lower of the range, trying to get out. If you get back above it, getting to the value area high of yesterday was, a target zone. So there's many different strategies of when you consider ranging and session volume profile. This is more for scalping. For that, you obviously need to see the next day open, of course. Not much has to be discussed. I'm more into the swing trading camp, as you do know. Not doing much day trading myself, much scalping. I know Devil is pretty active inside of the trading community with scalping entries. I know a lot of people want to get into scalps. I'm a little bit of a OG and I've made my capital, and getting into big swing trades is what I'm more interested. And naturally, this was the best swing shorting zone at 74k region, which was given here on the stream on Wednesday the 4th, of March, and we might get another opportunity here, as explained, in the next coming days. And this is looking for bigger swings. All of this, rangy, these are only for scalps. They're little movements of $500 to $1,000 usually. It might stretch to $2,000 of a move. I'm interested in the bigger move down to 60k. I understand that this is a reality that could happen, and we could be not long away from it. I would be interested in taking a long position if we do get a corrective range, which will be proven between today and tomorrow. It will be proven that the move down that we do get could be corrective. If I'm not on YouTube, I will be pointing this out inside of the trading community, of course. But I would be interested in hedging a long position from the short, because there is a bullish case scenario, even though it doesn't look great. But there is that bullish case scenario. Could this be a wave 1 forming and we get a wave 2 formation here between today and tomorrow, to then pop out in a wave 3, right? And then surprise, surprise, this was not the high, this was not an impulse, we did not form a correction here, and this was a wave 1, wave 2, another wave 1 and a wave 2 here, and price breaks out. So the new information is crucial, right? I can flip bullish or look for a bullish long position in the next 1 to 2 days, I would say max. I want to see some kind of a corrective structure here, because I would be long. I would be looking for a long position based on, you know, what if this is a wave 1, wave 2, and this is a wave 1 and a wave 2 in a running flat, which is not great, but and then price decides it's gaining steam here. Well, if that is the case, as price doesn't usually move up in a straight line, we would look for that, you know, first leg up and correction at some point. So we're going to get that, you know. If it is going to be bullish, there will be some kind of a corrective move happening here in the next 1 to 2 days. So do we get a long entry? I mean, unless you paid attention on Friday looking for the double triple bottom grinding structure here down to the 66k zone, which was explained on Friday, you know, that there will likely be a long position coming into Sunday, Monday, right? As we move down here, right? This was the explanation that we gave on Friday. You know, I'm looking for the downside momentum to continue here, but then get the bounce on Sunday night or Monday morning, right? We're looking for that relief based on the information that we have. You're likely gonna, you know, get that exhaustion of the downtrend, you know, at the 66k region, and then get the bounce. Yeah, it would have been nice to, you know, long the exact low or SFP from that low. But this was Sunday night, early Monday morning, so I did not get into that long position. But it would have been nice, right? Then you're like running a great position here from these lows. But let me know. Maybe some of you are in that long position based on that slowdown that we were talking about throughout Friday into the weekend, right? So let me know in the comment section. Appreciate your take on spot buying, Jerome. Thank you very much, my man. Much appreciated. Thank you. That strategy is absolutely fantastic. Do you look at any other chart apart from BTC? If yes, look at Hype. Very interesting. We don't usually look at many altcoins, especially now in the bear market. We really focus mainly on Bitcoin. Oil was a very interesting chart that we looked at a few months ago, that it was likely going to get that pop to $100 despite the tensions in the Middle East. We were already ready for that breakout here on oil to happen about in the next coming month, to, you know, it's just a bullish squeezed pennant right at the end of the day. And we were anticipating that we're likely going to see oil at $100 a barrel plus, right, in the coming months. And we sometimes take a look at gold now, silver, oil, S&P 500, but the main chart, of course, to analyze is Bitcoin. Much love, Devil, my man. Devil has been providing the trading updates today inside of the community on Telegram, which is absolutely epic. Looking for those scalp entries as well. Shout out to you, Devil, just popping in to smash up the like button. Let's do a like button recount. It's been a little bit slow today, but it is Monday, chill day. Smash up the like button, says Devil. If you are interested in getting into the trading community, send me the word access, guys. Devil has been absolutely banging the updates today. Been very, very active. I can see Devil inside of the trading community. It's been insane. So yeah, shout out to you, Devil. Send me the word access, guys, if you're interested to get in the trading community. It's super simple to join. Just need to sign up throughout one of the affiliate links down below and we'll get you access. Was waiting for one more low. Oh, okay, that was with movement down. Waiting for one more low here. These are relatively... when you get, the main idea on Friday, because we had the highest amount of volume, okay, on that movement down, we were speculating that this could be a wave 3. And we could have several 1-2s here. So if you have that wave 3, you want a few 4-5s in this region, right? That's the speculation that we had on Friday. Have that exhaustion of the bears through the weekend and then look for that relief bounce. Obviously the bullish case scenario is reclaiming the value area high, which we're not having at the moment. I'm not leaning on the bullish case here, but a relief rally was very expected coming into the beginning of the week. This was on Friday, get exhausted on the weekend and look for that bounce, which is, what we're getting today, Monday, right? And someone saying here, I was waiting for one more low to get into this long. These are, you need to have a guideline. So for example, I like swing failure patterns. I like major pivot higher lows for a guideline here in this case. So for that, you would have this one, or you would have this one right over here, or you would even have this one. So if you do get that swing failure pattern on one of them, it gives you that potential trigger, right, with stop loss at the low. If this one loses, you get that stopped out, then you look for this swing failure pattern level, right? Because, I understand that at some point you are going to get that last 4-5 and you are going to get that relief pump, right? You literally need to have guidelines, right? And swing failure pattern higher lows based on, okay, we're looking here at a few 1-2s, the wave 3 high volume, and then a few 4-5s. Which is the last 5th wave? Which is the last 4-5, right? That is going to come here to get that bounce. And having guidelines in this case, or a major naked point of control maybe, right? Maybe you have that high volume node, right, from a previous day of a range, which would give you that guideline. This one was tapped already here naturally, so you didn't have any major naked point of control, so or a daily level down here. So the higher lows as liquidity grabs should have been your guideline in this case. If we lose the level, I'm not interested. If we get back above, I'm interested, right? And based on Elliott wave theory, we understand that because the highest amount of volume on the movement down and where we have the biggest gap naturally, which would be for that wave 3 is here, then you understand this is going to bounce at some stage when you finish that, last 4-5. So where do I enter the long position, right? Which is the main question of a trader, especially somebody that's relatively new, is you need to have naked point of controls, daily levels, order blocks. You need to have something in this zone that gives you the reason to get into the long position to try and detect that 4-5. As we didn't have any daily level, naked point of control, major order block, order block, you can take a look at 5-minute order block or even an hour order block. But if you don't have anything, then your higher lows as liquidity grab swing failure pattern scenarios would be your main option here to execute the long position. When you understand that you're very likely going to get that grinding structure exhaustion, obviously looking for a major pivot, okay, to execute that long trade would be your reason to get in, right? SFP from this one or SFP from this one. Understanding that you're likely looking for a 4-in-5 situation here. This became a little bit complex, I have to say. You got a few 1-2s, then the third wave, and then you get a few 4-5s naturally here. So, which one is going to be the one that bounces? It can be a bit frustrating and a little bit, but you need to have guidelines in this case, right? Higher lows, SFP levels, understanding that there is a high probability that this is going to get a bounce at some point, because your wave 3 and the highest volume, it was in this zone. So yeah, just a little bit on how to execute, you know, just to give a little bit of that education naturally. So yeah, I've been in many groups and YouTube channels, and I can say nobody does it like you and Devilt. How did you guys train yourself mentally to be objective? Awesome comment. Thank you very much for the kind words right over there. Ayobas Soul, much love to you. Thank you very much for the kind comment. How are you, Andy? Andresh, I'm doing pretty okay. Devil was around. Much love to Devil. He's an absolute beast. Thank you very much for that kind comment. I've been in many groups on YouTube channels, and I can say nobody does it like you and Devil. That's absolutely awesome. Yeah, Devil, we had a hater at the beginning of the stream, which was bashing me, which was very interesting. All of these deleted comments. I think it's that same guy that came a month ago just to bash and say, you know, very nasty comments. I mean, come on, why? Anyway, much love to everybody. Not much that we can discuss here on Bitcoin, as explained. For the bullish case scenario, I'm going to keep it relatively simple for the people that are feeling bullish, which I don't judge anybody. There is a chance for the bulls. I can give you my opinion. I think probabilities are low, but the chance is there. I would say that this would be an invalidation pivot, okay, sitting at 65.6. We do have I would say a confirmed impulsive move to the downside at this point, which we were very much vocal about on Friday, right? We're looking for that impulse to finish in a few 4-5s into the weekend. So we are getting that bounce here. And Devil was discussing a bullish case scenario. You know, it is definitely possible. We can not only be very bearish or be very bullish. You know, I have a favorite scenario, which is bearish. However, I understand that things can change quickly, and this would be the bullish one. You have a wave 1, wave 2. This would be another wave 1 and wave 2, just because I can't fit a wave 1 here, because we have a clear 3-wave move to the upside. If we were to try and attempt, you know, a 5-wave motive wave here at this point, this has to be your wave 1. This would be a running flat. Because we have an impulse down, you know, is there a chance for this being the low? Well, as this is high probability impulsive, you know, the only scenario is a running flat here. Now, there's big problems for this to be a wave 2 right there. You know, this is extremely long compared to your wave 1. And, you know, B wave did not hit the 1.618 extension just by it, not much. It's just not high probability, but I need to understand that the bulls do have a chance to get above $74,000. There is a clear invalidation, which is 65.6K. If the price takes out that low in the next coming hours between today and tomorrow, I'm going to say that the probabilities are extremely high to take out $60,000, and this could be days away if this low is taken. What I would be looking for here naturally would be either the flat structure or the running flat. Take out the local highs that is formed today potentially, and I would be heavily confident that this is a 3-wave corrective structure that is finished, an impulse down, likely a correction here, looking for this to be a wave 1, a wave 2, running flat or regular flat, we don't know, and look for the 3rd wave breakdown to take out 60K. So this low needs to maintain for the bulls to have a chance to take out 74K in the next coming days. The chance is there for this to be a wave 2 in that running flat. You take out this low between today and tomorrow, I'm just gonna, you know, we're running out of bullish options here. We already did. with this movement down, but we need to say, right, considering that there is a bullish option still, that's a wave 1, that's a running flat, which is, you know, 8 times longer, and it's a running flat on its own, which is low probability. So, you know, the bulls need to defend this low. So as explained, if we do get a corrective structure between today and tomorrow in this zone, it could be a possible long day trade for either the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, you take out 74k, or the ABC. You get rejected at value area high, and you just literally form an ABC movement here to the upside, right? Which is what I would favor very much. That's if we form a zigzag. So corrective structures that could be formed here: 3-wave, regular ABC, rejection at the golden pocket, value area high of the region. It's an option. We take out the low in the next coming hours. Running flat or a regular flat ABC is an option. This is where I would be confident to start looking to add to the position, really detecting this bounce to the upside. This is very, very similar to what happened here, guys. Very, very similar, right? Where I'm talking about the high probability 3-wave corrective structure that we had here. We got an impulse down, and then this was high probability corrective as the information was getting, evolved here. There was a moment that we were very, very hot, convinced that that's it, guys. We're probably days away from coming down below 80k. Because, when you fit all of the information, you're just going to have the perfect map. 3-wave up, impulse down, nothing bullish about this structure. The probabilities here were either for a regular flat, for a triangle, for a running flat, which was the case. And, if it is going to be turning bearish, which is the camp that I'm leaning in, we're going to be days away to really confirm that, guys, that's it, right? We're coming to the very end stages of this range, and it's time to pop out. And pop down would be the highest probability, of course. We could be days away of actually confirming that the probabilities are 90%. 90% probability to take out 60k. Based on the information that we got. 3-wave to the upside. Not the bullish options are not great, as explained. These ones right over here, and the probabilities will just be confirmed in the next coming days, depending on the information that we do get. 3-wave up, impulse down is already high probability for me to take out 60k. Bullish option needs to be talked about naturally, as we have done throughout the stream. But let's see how the price evolves between today and tomorrow. One confirmation for me would be if you take out the lows here again. Yeah, you literally have an impulse. I would be looking for the flat here. I would be looking for the flat, regular flat or running flat. And this could be a very, very strong short position. I would not only add to my existing short, I would look to get into a new short position. And these are heavyweight, guys. This is not, I'm looking for a heavyweight, high probability position. And I need good information on the chart. And, a regular flat here or expanding flat would be a great scenario. Wave 1, wave 2. In a regular flat, value area high, golden pocket, regular flat 1, 2, and looking for that wave 3 to develop at some point in the coming days after this is completed. So we'll see, right? We'll see. For the moment, that the bearish scenarios do have a little bit of more probability, right? Based on the information that we have. But if you are feeling bullish, and if you are feeling that we do get above 74k in the next coming days, right, give or take, I would seriously treat these lows that we formed yesterday, Sunday, as as an invalidation, because you know we're running out of bullish options here. If this is going to be bullish, wave 1, wave 2, and this is a wave 1, and this is a wave 2 in a running flat, which is 8 times longer, you lose this low, then that you have an impulse down. So you lose this low, it ain't, you know, the bullish options, we really run out of them. We run out of the bullish options. That would only just increase the probability that there could be a 90% chance that we do get down here, because we're literally running out of the bullish scenarios. And obviously that's my analysis, my opinion, and what can we say? Ciao Andy from Italy. Really thank you for the education. I'm slowly learning why I've lost a lot of money with trading, but every day I'm doing better. You're the best. Thank you very much, Majestic. Much love to you. Thanks for the kind words. I need a little bit of kind comments here, because today, man, was this guy that's creating new accounts only coming here to bash and hate. Not that I haven't much haters, but when there's one popping out, man, screw you, right? What have I done to you? I'm just giving you my opinion to see if it is hand in hand with your analysis. But anyway, could dump now. Yeah, we're at that fair value gap zone, right? This is on the 5-minute time frame. Look at this fair value gap, right? So what you have is the movement down, consolidation, big move down, right? With significant volume, and then the range forms, right? The top of the lower part of the gap, right, which is with the range highs, is a common zone where the price finds resistance, right? It usually finds resistance at the fair value gap. The highs of this, you know, of this little range. So you got the gap. These gaps usually they either break or they actually struggle to find to break out. And they find resistance, right? Which is kind of what's happening here. So yeah. We love you, Andy. Ashil, much love to you. Thank you very much. I emailed you about working with you guys, analyst, and you didn't get to me. Lol. Yeah, make sure to send me a DM on the Telegram, okay? We're happy always to check out people that does analysis as well and that can join the team. Make sure to send me a DM, my man. Don't listen to the haters. You provide great education. Ice Cube, thank you very much, my man. We do try it. We do try it, myself and Devilt. Okay, ignore them haters, Andy. Just angry they are in the red. Yeah, I'm happy to help them out. Say, you know, just say, hey, what's wrong with you? You know, send me a DM. Let's have a chat. You know, why so much hate? Anyway, nothing we can do. My favorite analyst is here. Meme Cat. Hello, Andy. How are you doing? Long time no see. Meme Cat, much love. Thanks for joining the stream today. Legends, we're so close to the 200 likes. Keep pumping them likes. Yeah, let's see how many likes we do have, because, man, close to the 200 likes. Keep pumping. Oof. Let's go. I'm going to go around the table. I'm going to get a drink of water. I'll continue with the comment section, and let's see how many likes we can get. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes. Smash them up, guys, if you do enjoy the content. Let me just get a drink of water. I'll come back. Hopefully we're above 200 likes. All right, let's go. Legends, we are close to the 200 likes. Let's go. Andy, you and Devilt are top 5 educators in the space. The thing is, Elliot is hard and majority of people don't have will. Stay strong and thank you. This is the good thing, though, because not many people like Elliot Wave and follow Elliot Wave. This is why it's interesting to do content and trading and, technical analysis based on Elliot Wave theory, because it really gives you that extra edge, right? When you analyze the market, right? With somebody coming on the charts, right? On Friday, could they have said that we're looking for the price to get exhausted here. Of course, you do have the point of control on the value area low, right, at the 66K region, but explaining on how the price could develop into the weekend, having low volatility, and we're looking for a few 4-5s to come down here at the 66K region, right? We don't have an exact level, but how the price could evolve to then look for that bounce for Sunday, Monday, right? So we did, you know, have that exhaustion throughout the weekend, and we getting the bounce Sunday, Monday. And that's purely based Elliott wave, right? We're looking for an impulse down. We got the third wave getting developed with high volume. What we're looking for is the exhaustion in the 4-5s into support to then get that bounce on Monday. Sunday, Monday, we said, right? We can't give exact timing, guys. You know, markets can be very unpredictable, but you can get close to predicting a little bit of the timing and how it can move. So Elliott wave is really does give you that edge on what you're looking for, how you're looking for the price to evolve throughout the next, you know, coming hours. And this is why, you know, I explain. I'm in a short position already, right? And you guys know that. I'm not going to don't want to talk about it too much. You know, I'm not here to brag about me. You know, I'm doing okay. I'm here for you, right? Very much aware of the short from last week that could be the high, guys, and we could form a local double top, right? Any, you know, rejection from the anchored VWAP or internal double tops here are very acceptable to look for a position, because this could end up in a massive swing short position that takes us down in the coming weeks. Of course, I know in trading we are very, very impatient, right? And we do want, you know, quick gains, right? Talk about the scalps and talk about the gains that I can make right now, but it's, you know, not like that, right? And the bigger swing trade scenarios are naturally very, very attractive. And this is a short that I'm still holding, and I'm willing to add to this short. This might be the trade of the month, right? And I know a lot of people would say, well, I want to get into 20-30 trades in the week, right? In the month. I want to get into multiple trades in the week. And it does require a lot of discipline for scalping. Scalping is very, very hard. You need to manage your risk very, very well. But overall, you know, I'm very much in favor of the swing trade. You know, I'm looking for this big move down to 60K, which is going to take a few weeks to develop, and I know it has very good potential, as we were explaining in the last week, guys. You know, I'm looking for this area to maybe be the highs for the swing short to get down to 60K. How do I enter this? You know, I was vocal about, you know what, the price might form another internal wave 4 here, because there was a chance for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it does so, I will be looking for the double top here. Entry, stop loss. However, you know, I want to be positioned already in the local double tops that we do have here. Anchored VWAP is my guideline, and local double tops here is very much where I want to be positioned. I mean, this is, I know a lot of people would say, just buy Bitcoin and hodl, right? Well, if you would have done that with many altcoins, you're probably not very happy right now with all of these different crypto influencers, right? They've been screaming for a massive bull run on altcoins in 2025. I'm going to add myself into that camp, because I've got Chainlink and I've got a couple of altcoins, which is not a huge amount of my investment. Being very vocal about that as well. You know, most of my investment is in Bitcoin. Then I've got a significant chunk of Ethereum and Chainlink and a few altcoins just for the sake of it, right? I don't put too much love and effort in investing in altcoins, right? Bitcoin is the one to be in for the long term, right? And trading right now, you know, some people say we're just buying hodl. If you can detect those great trades, I also buy and hodl, but I also want to trade. I want to take advantage of the possibility of the price moving down. And, you know, this was high probability that we were looking for a corrective structure here, topping out at the 98k region. Was also the anchored VWAP from all-time high. Very likely corrective, and the same scenario here, right? I'm looking for this to be likely corrective, guys. I want to make money to the downside as well. If I'm holding Bitcoin, I'm missing out on these nice short positions, and we like to inside of the bear market, we like to teach about the possibilities and probabilities, of course, of making gains down or up, right? Anyway, can you take a look at say? You know what? I actually have some say at the bottom of the barrel. I do have some say. What's happened to say? Yeah, say has literally gone down the toilet. It's insane how some of the altcoins have just really just almost disappeared from the face of the earth. But I don't know how these bigger altcoin channels that mainly focus on crypto investment, that have been shilling and talking about so many different altcoins and the massive bull run to expect in 2025 and altcoin season, I seriously don't know how they survive not being a trading channel and obviously looking at shorting opportunities. I had to dabble into a few altcoins. Say was one of them, not much invested, but this is down, but as explained, it's such an insignificant amount of the portfolio. I would only make gains on this one if we were to go to $1.50. Then I would say, I made a bit of profit on this altcoin that I bought. But that's how insignificant it is as it goes down. Couldn't care less. But there's literally nothing we can talk about on these altcoin charts. We left altcoins away many months ago, and we basically focus on Bitcoin trading. I didn't manage to sell my Chainlink either. I've never sold Chainlink, and I bought Chainlink. My first Chainlink was bought at $1.60 in 2019, and I bought significant Chainlink down here, so I'm almost at break even on Chainlink. Bought significant amount of Chainlink here, and we have proven that the bull run was not going to continue here. I was already happy to sell some above $30, but we didn't get back above $30, so I'm holding for the next bull run. So yeah, I sold all of my altcoin bags recently, only hodling stables and future trading. Absolutely awesome. Distant music, that's awesome to hear. What you see on Nimic, Andy, wow, Nimic is one of those. It's also one of those, I think it's Nimic. This does ring a bell. Wow. Yeah. Well, this is coming into the next crypto bull run. It is basically flat here. This might take, a couple of years to recover. But I remember this one was, I think it was proof of work. It's like money, like Bitcoin as well. I'm not sure if there's any fundamentals, strong fundamentals behind Nimic. I think it does ring a bell. I think it was just, it was supposed to be like money, okay? Nimic, just like Digibyte, proof of work, but nothing to do with decentralized finance, smart contracts, or any of that. Had the same purpose as Bitcoin, but what can we say? There's so many projects. This is the problem about crypto in general, right? There's been millions of tokens and then projects created in the last year. So obviously there's not of all, 99% just going to go down the toilet. They'll have absolutely no value at all. Hype bruv, strongest altcoin. Yeah, Hype does look very interesting. Obviously a decentralized platform with its own token. Absolutely. Could be going. Ethereum is still holding okay. Could we be going to 1,500? Yeah, we'll probably take a look at Ethereum tomorrow. We'll get some, you know, I'm happy to do Ethereum analysis and looking for trading opportunities on Ethereum, as it is the second largest crypto. As I said, people, 382 fib, bears slowly warming up. Yes, Ash here, looking for the bearish scenario. Much love to everybody. Okay, higher time frame, Bitcoin still looks bearish. Bullish case scenario, I think, has low probability. Okay, as explained, low probability for this. We're looking for higher probability, that for me at least, that this is a three-wave corrective structure from the downtrend. We got an impulse down. We inside of the previous day value zone. The similarities from this range and that range over here are just very, very strong, and really looking for the price of Bitcoin to form a corrective range in the next few days to then maybe break down to $60,000 is what I am betting on, of course, with that short at 74k, 73k zone. So let's see. We'll see. We'll be here on YouTube to update if I'm adding to the short, or if I'm I would be more happy to look for a long between today and tomorrow. And of course, inside of the trading community, such as Devilt or myself, if there is something clear that we in a position that we are getting into, it will be informed inside of the trading community. Super simple to join, guys. If we're not on YouTube, we are inside of the trading community. You can always tag us for any questions. Send me the word access. Just join one of the platforms down below and you get access inside of the trading community. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow, and let's see how the price develops, guys. Much love to everybody. Thanks for smashing the like button, and I'll see you tomorrow.